What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another action-packed episode of Lockdown 23-1, where the story times never end. That's right. Today I got two, they're absolutely wild stories. And I got a little book where I write down like passwords and stuff to my accounts. And also where I write down all my stories that I remember from the past in jail, streets, prison, whatever the case is. And I got quite a bit written down. And I got a few that are saved for 500,000 and 1 million subscriber story specials. And they are epic stories. They might be up there with the stories I'm about to tell you today, you know. And the title doesn't really do it justice, was it? When headbutts and parkour go wrong in prison. Look, these stories, they're pretty messed up, but they're hilarious at the same time. But before we get into the stories, yes, that's right, before we get into stories, I want to answer a question someone asked me in the comment section yesterday. And I do not think I've talked about this before, but I'm going to answer it for them really quick. I gave them a light description on what happens in this scenario. But anyways, let me answer it for really quick after I take this sip of coffee. Alright. So the question was, what happens to your property when you get taken to the hole? Segregation. Let's say you get in trouble and the correctional officers handcuff you right there on the spot. What happens to all your stuff, okay? That's a great question. That's actually a very important question because a lot of people think that the correctional officers will come and pack your stuff up immediately. No, it does not happen like that. They actually take a lot more time to pack up your stuff. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it takes 30 minutes for the correctional officers to come in there and get all your stuff from the cell and put it into a holding area. Okay, they have like a little room where everyone who's in segregation, they put all their stuff in this room and hold it there in like a brown paper bag until they're released from segregation. They'll give it back to them. But typically within that 5 to 30 minute window, okay, what I've seen in the places I've been in, most individuals, all right, unless you got a little pool in the block and people respect you, they're going to run up in your cell and steal everything that you have. As soon as they slap the cuffs on you and take you out the block, there's going to be about 4 or 5 seagulls flocking to that cell, taking everything that you have. Then you'll be in the hole screaming to the correctional officer, "Hey man, did you get my stuff? Did you get my stuff?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got it." I'm like, "Yo, did you get all my food?" They're like, "There wasn't no food. There was only some utensils." All the food's gone, but they left the plastic utensils and stuff, you know? And dude will start snapping. He's like, "No, I had a ton of food. And sometimes the correctional officers will go in there and say, "Look, we're going to lock down this block for the whole month until we find out where all this dude's food is. Y'all better place the food right here on the table. Ain't no charges going to be pressed. Just leave the food on the table right then." You know, you got some knuckleheads that won't turn it in. They'd rather go on lockdown for a month and keep all the food they stole than to just put the food back and, you know, please the whole pod. And sometimes the correctional officers won't give a damn. You got, my friend. You shouldn't have went to the hole. You should have ran to your cell or something to make sure that, I don't know. But if you get locked up, you know, sometimes your stuff's going to come up missing. And it ain't always because of correctional officers. It's just because inmates are petty as hell. You'd be surprised. It might be your cellmate that you done did 11 months, 12 months with in a cell every day. That's the first one to take some food out your box. And then you have some cellmates that will literally defend your canteen. You know, they'll fight for your stuff because that's how much respect they have. That's how, you know, it usually is. You know, most cellmates ain't going to allow someone to just run in and take all your stuff. But there are certain different scenarios. You know, you got 5 gang members coming in there to raid your freaking stuff after you get packed up. Some cellmates, hey, they ain't going to interfere. That's just how the cookie crumbles in the penitentiary. So I hope that answered your question about what happens to your stuff when you get locked up into the hole. Now, for the story time. Man, these stories are crazy. Okay, I ain't gonna lie to you. They're pretty damn crazy. Which one do I want to start off with? I think we'll start with the headbutt, the parkour one. It's kind of got like 5 wild endings to it, but yeah, headbutt. This one was pretty freaking nuts, man. All right, These two guys, it's a fairly quick story. These two guys were about to fight. They were on the top tier. There was 2 tiers in the block, and this was in the penitentiary. There was 2 tiers, and they were on the 2nd floor, squared up to fight. Or not squared up. They were like in each other's faces. You could tell when someone's about to fight. They're right in each other's faces, just talking to each other like anything's about to pop off any second. So finally, believe it or not, the little dude, the littler guy, he wasn't little for real. He was only a couple inches shorter than the other guy. He headbutts homeboy. Now, when he headbutt this dude, he started stumbling back a little bit, and we were all watching it from downstairs, And that's a funny thing. I'm gonna bring another point to guys and fights, okay, at the end of this story. But anyways, dude started stumbling back, and he knocked himself out. Knocked himself clean out. And the dude that got headbutt, he said, bro, he knocked himself out, man. He's out cold, And you could see he was leaning over him, and he could have destroyed him. He could have destroyed him, but he didn't. He thought it was funny himself. So it was like almost immediately he came up with this idea, and I didn't know exactly what he was doing until after the fact, and everyone knew exactly what happened. But dude went to his cell and grabbed a sheet. Okay, he grabbed a sheet. And while dude was knocked out on the tier, he put the sheet over him like he was a freaking dead body or something. Now, not only that, we had Gatorade. Okay, we had, it was 2 kinds of Gatorade pouches. Okay, I think it was the red and the orange. I was pissed because they didn't sell the blue. That was my favorite Gatorade. But anyway, we had red and orange Gatorade powder pouches. And people would be mixing that stuff up before they went out to the yard and stuff. And I guess he might have had some mixed up already. But he poured some red Gatorade all over the sheet, okay? So the guy looked like he done got shanked 5 times, and they put the sheet over him, and the sheet just got red all over it. So, the CO is going to think homeboy is dead. You know what I mean? Can you imagine that? So they left dude there. He didn't wake up for at least a good 7-8 minutes. Now a CO comes in, okay? And I don't think they planned for the CO to come in that quick, because COs never made rounds for real in that cell block that we were in. I mean, it was very rare that they would come by like once an hour, and if they didn't make their rounds. They would just come in there and talk to another inmate, because they were dirty correctional officers, you know what I mean? But this person came in and was actually doing rounds, went around the 1st floor, and everyone was posted up waiting to see what the hell was gonna happen when he goes up to the top tier and sees the freaking body on the ground with a sheet and with Kool-Aid all over it. Red Gatorade all over it, So we're just posting up waiting, and he goes up the stairs and he takes a right, and we're like, he didn't take the left, right? So he took the right first, looped back around, and came up to the sheet and stuff. This correctional officer's face was priceless. I mean, it was like, he didn't even walk all the way up to it. It stopped him in his tracks about 10 feet from it. And then he slowly walked up to it, and he's looking around, and then he radios in. You know what I mean? Radios in and lock it down. Everyone locks it down. We all get in our cells, and we're just waiting for the action. This is like entertainment to everybody. And a group of freaking correctional officers, a flock of correctional officers come running in, and someone screams. Someone always had to ruin it. Someone screams, "He ain't dead, man. He's just knocked out." You know what I mean? Because I guess they're about to call wreck and stuff, and there's always someone that rains on the parade. So they lift up the sheet, and they're trying to figure out if he's alive or dead. They take his pulse, and they realize he's alive, and I don't know if they were searching for stab wounds or whatever. And sure enough, he came to, and they took him out the block, and a couple minutes later, they came and got the big dude that, I guess they ran the camera back and saw exactly how everything went down. But that was priceless. Can you imagine being a CO and walking up on something like that? There's a freaking dude underneath a body sheet, underneath the sheet with red Gatorade all over it, man. You would think for sure you're about to witness something gruesome. I know I would, so that was a pretty crazy, wild stunt that was pulled. And obviously when headbutting goes wrong, if you got a hard head, by all means do a headbutt. I've done a few headbutts in my time, and sometimes they hurt. They do hurt yourself a little bit, but it's a great initial kickoff of a fight, because most people are not ready for a headbutt. Headbutt directly to the nose, that could, that could definitely give you the advantage in a fight. And it just looks damn gangster if you pull it off right. Well, you pull it off right and you win the fight, starting it off with a headbutt. Whew, that's better than an MMA match. And this is another thing. I posted a video on my Instagram of a fight between these two old guys, and that's what brought me to talk about this story, because the old guy, it refreshed my memory on this whole story. Old guy ran up to him because another old guy called him a cheater and a liar, so another old guy ran up to him and headbutted him, and then bing, bing, uppercut him a couple times in the Instagram video. And in the video, someone asked me in the comment section, why did it take a girl to break it up? Okay, because there was a bunch of guys surrounding them, and the only one to break up the fight was a female. And I commented this, and this is, I can almost guarantee, this is how 99% of men think when they see a fight. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, when people start fighting, especially in jail or prison or out here in the streets, okay, and you're not involved, but it's happening right next to you, ladies, men look at that like a free MMA fight that you do not have to pay pay-per-view for or nothing, okay? I mean, it's a fight. What guy does not like to watch a live fight right in front of you? That's just how guys work. Now, I've seen guys break things up when it gets too far. You know what I mean? When dude's already knocked out and they're beating the hell out of him still. I've seen guys come in and, play that captain hero role. You know what I mean? But when it's just a basic fight, most guys just enjoy watching the fight. That's how it goes. And girls like to watch fights every now and then. But a girl more likely would be out here in the streets and at a party. I've seen girls be the ones that break up fights first before guys, way more. And ladies, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. I've seen some girls, and that brings me to another story. I'm not going to talk about that one today, but I've seen girls get knocked out trying to break up a fight. Yeah. Yeah, not flat out. And GRIZZY was a part of one of them. We weren't fighting, but he was there with me. I'm not going to tell that story today. I'll save that for another one. I need to write it down before I forget. But yeah, ladies, be very careful breaking up a fight, because you could be the next one to get laid flat. Now, story number 2 is absolutely wild as well. This one has many twists and turns, okay? This happened in the same block that the headbutt happened, but it was quite longer. It was a few months. Could have been a few months before or after, I don't know, but it wasn't back to back or anything like that. Anyway, this guy, black dude, okay, he was tiny, but he was built. He was built, and he did a lot of parkour stuff. I know you can see stuff on YouTube with people like jumping around on top of tables to do, like, I don't know, whatever them exercises are, where you jump onto the table, jump down, and do a burpee, jump back up. Well, this guy did those a lot. And he also did climbing the tiers a lot as a workout. He would just climb the thing up, climb it back down. You know what I mean? And then he'll stop on like a pull-up position, go left, right, and back up. And that was his workout plan. He did a lot of parkour, regular strength body exercises. He didn't do too much with weights. But this dude, he would always mess around and climb up the freaking, they say lockdown, and he would just jump up to the tier and climb up and get in his cell. Very active and very wild individual. And he was in the mix a lot too. He did a lot of gambling and stuff like that. He wasn't a stranger to the poker table. And one thing that made him very noticeable was his fronts, okay? He had fronts. He had like these fang fronts, and I ain't gonna lie, they were cool as hell. When I first saw them, I was like, I want to get me some fronts when I get out. I was being influenced. And I still want some cool fang janks. You know what I mean? But anyways, this dude, he was very noticeable because of his fronts, and they were cool. They were always shining when he's smiling at the freaking poker table and stuff like that. Well, he got into it with the correctional officer. And the correctional officer was trying to handcuff him up, and he broke out. And he started climbing the tier. And he started talking trash to the correctional officer from up top. And the correctional officer calls for backup. So the backup comes in, and this dude is flying around the pod, running from the correctional officers, up and down the tier, climbing around, parkouring over tables, bobbing and weaving from the correctional officers. It was amazing. We were just all dying laughing, and we were cheering him on. Like, you know, every time he would jump from one tier, from top tier back down to the other, he'd be like, and I can't even begin to paint the picture of all the inmates screaming and laughing about this dude running from. It reminds me of me running from the police on the ocean front. I had hundreds of people clapping and cheering with, you know, cops running right behind me. But anyways, this dude, he went to go hop over the rail, okay, like he did about 4 times already to get back down to the bottom tier. And his foot clipped the rail, and he fell face first into the ground, okay, straight into the ground. And he was all right. He was really disoriented, but they went and tackled him, handcuffed him, and took him out. Now, that's not the crazy part, okay? Of course, it was crazy seeing someone hit the freaking concrete face first from second floor, and he's lucky he didn't break his freaking neck, but at the same time, he was cool, and they walked him out after, you know, they set him up and made sure he was good to go and walked him out. Now, a couple days later, I'm at the poker table, and the dude he had a cell right in front of the whole incident, okay? So keep that in mind. He came to the poker table. He played poker too, and when he got to the poker table, you know, he started laughing and stuff. I said, bruh, homeboy had fronts, white dude. White dude had fronts in. I said, bro, is that so-and-so's fronts, man? He goes, I don't know, man. I found them in front of my cell. I'm like, oh my God, man. You know, he's rocking dude's fronts. And I guess when dude hit the thing face first, his fronts popped out and went flying in front of his cell. So he picked them up, and I was like, bro, did you even clean them, Jay? He's like, yeah, man, I scrubbed them up. I brushed them. So he's sitting at the poker table with dude's fronts in, and you know some fronts, cheap fronts, you can pop them things in. Anyone can pop them in. They aren't fit exactly to your teeth, and even if they are, I'm sure, you know, people in prison will take them and adjust them as best as they can to fit them, you know, fit their teeth. So I was like, bro, man, you better be careful, because dude that had the fronts, look, anyone in prison, okay, keep this in mind too, ladies and gentlemen, anyone in prison that have fronts are usually connected to some individuals, all right? And this dude was a gangbanger, you know what I mean? And he knew it too, but, you know, even if he ain't gangbanging, if he's got a pair of fronts and he's going around in prison with them without any kind of problems from correctional officers or anything like that, chances are, you know, he's got some connections, you know? But anyways, dude's wearing his fronts, and we had one black dude at the poker table too. And there was 3 other white guys. So it was 4 guys at the table. And I was like, you know, I was thinking to myself, I said, man, you know, the black dude, he's chilled with the guy that's lost his fronts. So I was like, man, I hope, you know, to myself, I didn't want to say anything until dude left. I was like, bro, you better hope God homeboy don't go tell his homeboys that you guys fronts. You know what I mean? I take them things out. He's like, you know what, you're right. So he takes them out, and he's like, man, I'm just going to sell them later on down the road or something. I was like, yeah, that's probably your best move, you know? Well, it turns out the black dude went and told guys' homeboys that white dude had the fronts. So I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I saw the guys go up to the white guy's cell. You know what I mean? So they went into the cell and started confronting him about the fronts. And after it all happened, the white dude came back and told us what happened. But the dudes went in there and they asked for the fronts back, and he's like, yeah, I got them. And he gave them back to him. Well, they beat the hell out of him. But they didn't punch him in his face. Can you believe that? They hit him with a bunch of body shots, man. Front and back body shots, lit him up. I'm talking about like machine gun punches, you know? And dude was really sore, and he had bruises all over his torso about 2 days later. And when he came back and told us that day, he's like, yeah, they didn't, thank God they didn't punch me in my face or do anything worse, man. You know, I think they respected the fact that I, you know, told them straight up that I had the fronts. About 3 days later, we had poker table jumping, and one of those guys came to the poker table, and dude that they beat up, you know, body blowed to the chest, was sitting at the poker table, and he knew that he kind of deserved it, man. You don't just take some fronts like that, rock them around in front of people, showboat, and play games like that in the penitentiary, okay? If it was me personally, I would have grabbed the fronts, took it to one of his homeboys, and be like, look, bro, I think these janks popped out his mouth. That's the safest route to do it. But this guy was young, stupid, you know, and it was kind of funny. Ain't gonna lie, it was funny as hell. But this is what makes it even crazier, man. We were at the poker table a few days later or so, and white dude that got the body shots to his chest and back was sitting there, and the guys, one of the guys that did it came to the poker table too. Everything was good, you know, no harm, no foul. It was all settled, squashed, beef was squashed, and he sat down and started playing poker, and we were playing for about 10-15 minutes, and I realized homeboy that took the fronts back from him was wearing the fronts. They beat the hell out of dude for wearing the fronts, for taking the fronts, and now he's rocking his homeboy's fronts. You know, he didn't even try or attempt to give them to anybody to try to return it back to him. He rocked them for the remainder of his time there. Crazy story about parkour going wrong and fronts, man. Look, you never know what you'll see in prison. You'll never know what you'll see in prison. Guys can be crazy but funny at the same time. You gotta realize, people in my lips are so freaking chapped. This weather is killing me. Change of weather from Florida to Virginia is absolutely insane. But you got to remember, in prison, you know, guys, and jail, guys are really bored. Okay, even when there's poker playing, not everybody has a lot of money. So people get bored in lockup. And when people get bored, especially guys, they do dumb, stupid stuff. Stupid stuff. And that's where, you know, a lot of fights start. A lot of fights start over stupid things. But I guess if you get anything from this stories, don't headbutt anyone unless you know you can handle the headbutt. And do not take something that is not yours, even if it fell in front of your cell. Especially a pair of fronts, a bag of dope, or anything like that. Even though I told a story about GRIZZY finding a package on the yard. That was terrifying. If y'all ain't seen that one, man, y'all need to go check that one out. I'll never forget that one, boy. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little story time. Please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you did. And do not forget to check out the links in the description of the video. Add me up on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Also go check out Teespring where you get all your wonderful merchandise. Lockdown 23-in-1 merchandise. And my wife's channel as well, The Compound 24/7. She just dropped behind the scenes video yesterday of our Florida trip. Go check it out and hit that subscribe button over there as well. And as always, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning, and everyone who's just now joining the Lockdown Compound. Y'all be easy, be safe, and remember, old Death got plenty of stories coming your way in the future.